If you're just beginning your awakening journey, this is the right video for you, because in this video I'm going to break down the two types of awakening processes that people go through, and then I'll recommend to you the one that suits the best. Okay, so without any further ado, let's get into the video of the day. And then we have the highest plane, the spiritual plane. Now the spiritual plane is whereby all these things come to be. And the spiritual plane is mainly concerned with your higher self. Your higher self is simply that part of you that is in connection with God and also in connection with you. Remember, when we say that we are spiritual beings having a human experience, we simply mean that we are parts and bits of God. It's more like creation decided to divide itself so that it can experience itself. Like God is experiencing life through your eyes, through your parents' eyes, through that other person's eyes. So when you are vibrating in the spiritual plane, you come to realize one thing, and that is oneness. Oneness in the sense that we are all spiritual beings having a human experience. And if we are all spiritual beings having a human experience, then this simply means that we are all spirits, and that spirit is one because God is a spirit. So it means that we are all gods. Okay, and once you understand that we are all gods, then you understand that you and creation are one. And when you understand that you and creation are one, then there is nothing to create, there is nothing to obtain, because creation is already complete, and it is your job as the experiencer to simply experience your own creation. So in the spiritual plane is whereby we have oneness, we have non-duality. So in order for you to manifest anything, you must be in total harmony in your spiritual plane, the mental plane, and the physical plane. If all these three planes are in harmony, then manifestation becomes effortless unto you. Okay, so now the question is, how now do you actually come about that harmonizing? How do you become one in all those three things? So to become one in all those three things, I want to introduce you to one thing. We have what we call the be, have, then do. We have the being, the having, and the doing. So this is how now you harmonize, or you bring oneness in what you call the mental, the spiritual, and the physical. That is the Trinity. Yeah, 3 in 1. So in order for you to do that, you must be, have, then you do. So what do I mean when I say be, have, then you do? Before I explain that, let me give you an example of how people approach manifestation in the world. So many people, because they don't know about these techniques, or they don't know about this information or this knowledge, this is how the average person approaches manifestation. And it's not a bad thing, it's not wrong, it's one way you can create. But the thing is, this is not the ideal way of creation. You are going, or let's say you are doing a lot only to get a few, whereas you can be doing few and still ending up getting a lot. So this is how the typical person approaches manifestation, and it's because of how the physical world is structured. So people believe that in order for them to achieve anything, or in order for them to get from point A to point B, they must take physical action. So physical action is one of the things that most people really focus on, and that is not wrong, because that is what the matrix world, that is what the system has trained us to do. The system has trained us that in order for you to get money, you must work. In order for you to get what you want, they must be doing. You must do. So people end up believing that action is the only thing which is needed for them to manifest, or for them to get at a certain point that they want to get in life. And that is not the ideal way. You can't do that and you will get to where you want to be, because there have been a lot of people who have become successful doing that. That is whereby you find people saying that it took me 20 years. I started as an intern. I started going up the ranks. It took me 20 years to be where I am. You see, then there is that pride of you having to struggle so that you can get to where you want to be, and that is all because of lack of knowledge. And that is why even the Bible says, my people are perishing, my people are dying because of lack of what? Of knowledge. And that is what I'm doing. I am bringing this knowledge into the limelight, right? So that theory of action is not the ideal way. So what is the ideal way? Let's now see how things are created, right? In order for you to have something, action is needed, but action is not the only thing. So let's go to the ideal way. So the ideal way for you to have something is being. Remember, being is the highest state. Being. What do I mean by being? Being, in simpler terms, is your state of consciousness. What state of consciousness are you embodying at this present moment? So for example, you might be working so hard, but your state of being is that of lack, is that of inadequacy, is that of fear, is that of hopelessness. Okay, so if your internal state is that of hopelessness, is that of fear, is that of lack, then this is what happens. Because internally you are fearful, you are lacking, you are inadequate. Guess what? That means that you have a specific energetic vibration frequency, and that is the vibration frequency of fear, lack, inadequacy. And that vibrational frequency is the exact same thing that the physical world picks upon. Hence, we have concepts such as what? The mirror principle. The mirror principle is whereby reality, whatever you are experiencing right now, is nothing more than a reflection of your internal state, is nothing more than a reflection of your state of being. Okay? So this is why your state of being is very important. Before you even go about doing the actions, before you even go about doing the affirmations, the journaling, the visualization, before you even go about taking massive actions, first ask yourself or look deep within or observe your internal state. And to observe, this simply means that you've got to witness your thoughts, your emotions, because your thoughts, your emotions are what constitute of what? Your energetic vibrational frequency. And that is what determines your state of being or your internal state of consciousness. Okay? So, if you are in the state of lack, then that means that if you are in the state of lack, then automatically means that you don't have. Okay? If you are in a state of lack, then automatically that means that internally you believe or you have accepted the fact that you do not have. And if you do not have internally, then what makes you think that you will have it externally? It can never happen that way. The universe, God can never contradict himself, herself, itself. I don't care what conception you have of God. The thing is, God is life. Life is energy. So energy can never contradict itself. The energy you give is the energy you receive. Hence the scripture says, whatever you give out is what you shall receive. Alright? So if you are giving out the energy of lack, inadequacy, fear, then what makes you think that you will receive abundance? It can never happen that way. So before you even approach the doing, observe the internal state. So actionable step number 1 for you to take is you've got to start being the witnesser. The witnesser is you going deeper and understanding that the thoughts that you have, the emotions that you have are not who you are. You have to understand that you are the observer, you are the witnesser of the thoughts. The thoughts are not who you are. You are just a being who observes, who experiences the thoughts. So you have to observe, you have to be in the present moment so that you can know whereby you can know when you are having negative thoughts, so that you can know when you are having low vibrational emotions. So the moment you start becoming the witnesser, you start to realize your state of being. And then that state of being, simply because you are watching it, you have detached from it, it begins to get transformed. You start to rise energetically. Okay, that is how that is all to do with the being, right? And then if you are in the right state of being, then that means that having is a prerequisite. For example, if you are in the state of being of abundance, then that means that internally you believe that having is your birthright, dominating is your birthright. Okay, and if the being and the having are in harmony, then the doing becomes effortless. That is why you find that for someone who is physically fit, going to the gym is not hard. It's something which they enjoy. Doing what they have to do to get where they want to be is not a job for them. It's not work for them. It's just something which is easy for them. And that is why you find that if you have not tapped into the right state of being and you only believe that you have to work, you will find that you make up your mind that you are going to start doing a specific habit, but then 1 week into doing it, you've already quit. 2 weeks down the line, you've quit. Why? Because deep inside of you internally, you are still attached to that state of being of lack. So that's why even your actions become fruitless, because deep within you, you believe that what you are doing is a fraud. You are lying to yourself. You can't say you are obese. You want to go to the gym to lose weight. But deep down within you, you are still having the identity, the mindsets of an obese person. It doesn't matter what you do in the gym, you will still fail. So success does not happen when you take the action. Success begins the moment you make the decision, the moment you decide and make an intention to change your state of being, or in other words, to alter, to transmute your state of being. But before you transmute anything, you first have to become aware of it. So the law of awareness is very important. You've got to become aware of your thoughts, of your emotions, of your beliefs, of your convictions, so that you can begin to alter them. Okay? And once you tap into the right state of being, naturally you will have and then you will do. Not the other way around of doing, having, then being. You don't do so that you can have, so that you can be. You become. When you become a winner, you will have already won. That is why the Messiah said that whoever believes, whoever prays and believes they have already received, it shall be done unto them. It's not that it is done so that you believe. You believe first. You have faith first, so that it can be done unto you. You believe you have already received the healing, the money, and then it will come physically, because the physical world obeys the laws of nature, and the laws of nature are that the internal reflects the external. So for those of you who have been in the manifestation journey, you don't need anything else to learn manifestation. You just have to become aware of your current state, and once you become aware of it, you start to elevate, and then you start to choose the kinds of thoughts that you want. You start to choose the kinds of emotions you want to experience, and by doing that, you will be tuning into the higher frequencies. And rest assured, the physical will take care of itself. You only have to deal with the state of being first, and then you will find that the action becomes effortless. You don't have to overthink. You don't have to need motivation to do what you have to do, because you're already in that state. Okay? And once you do that, you will manifest. But then the thing is this. We have what we call attachment. People become too attached to what they want to manifest. Maybe you want to manifest a certain amount of money. Then you are always, every minute, every second, you are already checking your bank account. Where's the money? Where's the money? That is called attachment. Okay, so let us go to now the second part of the spiritual growth. So I've told you what you need to do to start manifesting, but now let me give you the final ingredient to this manifestation process. And this is something that most people do not know, because most people are focused on the material gains of manifesting things. So let us now move into the second part of this video, and this is this is the interesting part. Okay,